Alright, so, let's just say that, I had a conversation about golden parachutes. And, of course, when you think about golden parachutes, you always gotta think of, the big five banks when they got away with their golden parachutes during the 2008-2009, collapse. Where, basically, every taxpayer had to pay about $2,274 in person, all $350 million, to a bunch of greedy bastards who did absolutely nothing with it to recover the economy. But when we're talking about golden parachutes and a bunch of greedy, just CEO, corporatist douchebags, just basically, just kind of just weaselly bankers that just own way too much goddamn money. The best analogy with what they're doing right now while they're trying to collapse the economy would be a golden parachute analogy, which would be what the bankers and, let's just say, the most greediest and notorious of all the corporatist CEOs and executives with their never-ending amount of golden parachutes. What their fatal flaw here is what they're doing is basically like robbing the plane blinds, but everybody on the plane is a Roman, and I'm about to explain this, is that Romans don't carry paper money. They actually carry actual gold coins and silver, which is actually heavy, a lot more heavier than you would think. And so basically what this guy is doing is like, he's basically hijacking the plane, knowing full well that when he kills the pilot, it's gonna crash. But he doesn't give a shit. He's basically throwing like all the parachutes out of the door. And he has stolen like literally like 10,000 pounds worth of gold and silver. And he actually thinks that he can get away with this on a goddamn parachute by itself. And so, like every greedy, evil bastard in history, from, let's just say, Nero to the incompetent Honorius to, let's even throw Napoleon in the mix, because he made some mistakes, and he was extremely megalomaniacal. But, what this guy's doing is basically, he kills the pilot, kills the co-pilot, steals 10,000 pounds of gold and silver from all the Roman citizens boarding the plane. Let's just say Rome had created planes, and yes, there was an inventor in Greece about freaking 300 years before Rome ever existed, because Rome was basically built by the Etruscans, and they basically learned all their architectural and cultural skills from the Etruscans. You basically call them the Etruscans' love child, after they killed the Etruscans in an evil betrayal. Kind of bloody. Wouldn't put it past Rome if you actually knew that the early descendants of Rome were actually all thieves, scoundrels, and killers. Because Rome really couldn't... Rome was a fine city, but it couldn't get people to actually live there as citizens, because it had a bad reputation for being the glorious city of two brother killers that tried to kill each other for power. There was a stigmata about Rome, but that actually changed very quickly. But that was also another dark history of Rome, which is where slavery comes into hand. But getting away from that, from Roman slavery, basically you have this guy, and he's jumped out, he's killed the co-pilot, he's killed the pilot, killed the co-pilot, and now he's jumped out of the plane. He's got over like 30,000 pounds of gold and silver that he's stolen from everybody on the plane. And let's just say it's one of those triple-decker new Boeings that I don't even know the number to. Let's just say it's like a 787 for whoever fucking knows, like one of those new triple-deckers. Big, fancy. Usually only see them in Europe, but that's beside the point. This guy is basically like skyrocketing, parachute deployed. He's just boom, I've got this. Deploys the parachute, still skyrockets at basically breakneck speed. Breakneck speed being the maximum amount of acceleration that you can get with an object moving at 9.8 meters per second acceleration towards the Earth, which is exactly 263 miles per hour. That's maximum velocity. So you've got this faggot, and he is literally sitting here, and he is plummeting to Earth with 30,000 pounds of stolen gold and silver on his person, plummeting into Earth, and there's just nothing more to say about it. This is what happens when you let fuckbags like, and I can't remember his name, but he was the first dude to basically invade Rome with a Roman army. Right after they passed a rule that Roman armies were subservient to their generals, not citizen soldiers subservient to their country, which is a horrible idea, because basically once you have paid mercenaries, it's only a matter of time before those paid mercenaries well, if you ever get a paid mercenary force with a good enough general that can accumulate enough forces to storm the city, it's going to happen at some point. His name was Lucellus or something like that, can't remember. But basically, you have the idiot dying in flames. He's not dying in flames, but well, let's just say that everybody else on the plane is going to die in flames. The douchebag that stole all the money out of the plane is also going to die, but he's going to die in a much different way. He's going to get his brains splattered out, and I guess this is kind of the analogy, which is when you choose to use a golden parachute as a terrorist, a global financial terrorist, at robbing, let's just say, the global economy as an analogy, plane of massive wealth. When you choose to use a golden parachute as your escape plan, it's almost always going to end in horror and death. I mean, you even hear like a lot of these globalists, and they're just like, I can't find anywhere to run on this planet. Well, maybe you should have thought of this plan before. Maybe if you had a fucking Mars base, you could have just fucking jet set to the Mars like fucking some retarded James Bond fucking Moonraker movie. But you didn't, and you got too greedy, and you decided to choose a golden parachute as your way to get out of a burning airplane. And any retard that chooses to choose a golden parachute as his method of escape out of a burning airplane is always doomed to fail. And I guess that's where I'll stop my retarded ranting, because I am not doing good right now.